Welcome again. So this is the last and final presentation of a lightship or flagship project funded by the Fuel Cells and Hydrogen Joint Undertaking, this industry-led public-private partnership. This is a very special project, completely different from the other one because we are dealing now with hydrogen production, and hydrogen production with non-conventional tool, not with an electrolyzer. This project is the Hydrosol.plant project, and it's a little bit non-classical due to the fact that it's the follow-up of a previous project. So what we would like to show with this project is that you can apply first at a research level, try to imagine a device, an installation, a new system, and when you are successful with that, you can go to the implementation. So the project is the Hydrosol project, initially Hydrosol 3D, now moving to Hydrosol.plant project. It will be presented by, I'm sorry, but I need my spectacles, Souzana Lorentzou, who is the affiliated researcher at the Aerosol and Particle Technology Laboratory of CERTH in Greece, and who is also the coordinator of this Hydrosol 3D project and Hydrosol.plant project. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I will try to be as quick as I can since this is the last presentation to free you, and I hope I won't tire you. So, as the title says, that I will talk first about the past. Literally. The past related to concentrated solar radiation. Maybe you are familiar with the story about Archimedes, who defended the city of Syracuse by using solar reflectors. Also, Leonardo da Vinci had designed a parabolic reflector to be used in the dyeing of fabrics, and later on, Lavoisier had made a solar furnace to melt platinum. So the power of the sun was always intriguing for man, and man always sought ways to exploit this vast energy. Today, solar concentrated radiation is used for the production of electricity, and in such facilities like solar tower facilities. You see here in the picture the PS20 in Seville that generates electricity for some thousands of houses. But there is also the need for storing this solar energy due to the intermittent character of the sun on Earth. And the best way is the chemical storage of solar energy into an energy carrier, such as hydrogen. And even better when hydrogen is produced with a renewable way. So integrating solar hydrogen production and solar power tower facilities, we get a double benefit: energy production and storage of solar energy. There are several different routes to produce renewably hydrogen that originate from the solar energy, such as electrolysis coupled with photovoltaics or with wind energy systems, or biomass reforming or photocatalytic processes. But we are going to focus on the center, the thermochemical cycles, and more specifically, water splitting with the use of metal oxides and in order to produce solar hydrogen. Now, what are these water splitting? This water splitting based on redox thermochemical cycles. At the first step, there is the splitting of water. You have the metal oxide in its reduced state, and it can be oxidized by water and produce hydrogen. This happens in the low temperature. In the next step, you have to regenerate the metal oxide in order to use it again. So this happens at a higher temperature, and the metal oxide releases the oxygen that is absorbed during the splitting step. In general, materials that are used in these applications are either redox pairs of metal oxides or ferrites doped with nickel, manganese, or zinc, and also other materials that have oxygen exchange ability. Now, the hydrosol technology was, the aim of the hydrosol technology in general was to conduct these two reactions, the splitting reaction and the regeneration of the metal oxide, into one monolithic reactor. And this was done, the whole concept was based in a combination of solar thermal technologies and catalytic reactors that are used in automotive emission control. The benefits of this, of such a concept, are that the reactor is modular and compact. It doesn't have any moving parts or develop high pressures, high pressure drop. And it can absorb solar heat because it's usually black. And it can serve either as a support of the metal oxide, or can be constructed from the redox material itself. So this is a schematic to give you an overall view of the concept, where the splitting reaction and the splitting reaction here and the regeneration reaction here can be made in one single monolithic reactor by just changing the solar radiation that hits the reactor. So the first Hydrosol project was started in 2002, and then 3 more projects followed. Hydrosol 2, which was a scale-up of the first project to a 100 kilowatt reactor. Hydrosol 3D, which was the design of a solar thermochemical plant based on the Hydrosol technology for a 1 megawatt thermal plant. And our latest project, the Hydrosol plant, which has started in January 2014, and is actually the construction of a demonstration plant of the scale of 750 kilowatt thermal for hydrogen production. Now, the first 2 projects were funded through the 5th and 6th framework programs, and the last 2, Hydrosol 3D and Hydrosol plant, through the FCH-DU. The main challenges that were faced through the Hydrosol projects were that we had to identify the appropriate materials that were high temperature tolerant, and also to optimize the metal oxide to ceramic support system with respect to stability and cyclic operation. Also, there was the issue of effective coupling of the reactor to the actual solar platforms, the control of the heliostat field in order to achieve the 2 different temperatures that are needed to perform the splitting and the regeneration of the material, and in general, the overall operation strategy, the startup, the shutdown procedures, and switching between the 2 operation modes. In all the Hydrosol projects, the general development path started with the material synthesis, the evaluation of the materials at the lab scale, the reactor development, and the field testing. While in the Hydrosol 3D project, also the whole process flow sheet was developed, and some process economics were derived. In the case of the material synthesis, we selected the appropriate families of materials, in this case mostly ferrites, but also some other materials. And these were synthesized via different synthesis techniques, starting from solid phase with metal oxide precursors, or liquid phase with solutions of metal salts, mainly metal nitrates. Then came their evaluation in the lab scale, either at powder scale in fixed spec reactors heated with electrical furnace to achieve the high temperatures needed, or at the monolith scale using a solar simulator to simulate the solar radiation. And from these experiments, the kinetic model of the reactions was derived. In the case of the reactor development, starting from the monolith, the materials that were synthesized and evaluated in the powder scale were further deposited on the monoliths to be tested and evaluated on the reactor, the actual reactor. However, in the Hydrosol 3D project, we also investigated the possibility of manufacturing the monolith, the whole reactor, from the redox material. And in this way, we would achieve a higher amount of redox material being exposed to the reaction, and also maybe avoid some undesirable interactions between the support and the redox material. Also, in the case of the coupling of the reactor to the actual solar platform, there was, in the first and the second Hydrosol project, the development of a dual reactor that would allow the continuous production of hydrogen. This means that you have two reactors. At the time, the one reactor is splitting water, the other regenerates, and then the operation is exchanged. This was scaled up. The reactor was scaled up to 100 kilowatt thermal during the Hydrosol 2 project, and in the 3D project, we designed a scaled-up version of such a reactor concept to the 1 megawatt scale, and this will be further used in the current project, the Hydrosol plant, to construct the reactor of 750 kilowatt thermal. Okay. Also, in the case of the design of the reactor, there were some issues observed in the first two projects, Hydrosol projects, of re-radiation losses and, in general, the thermal behavior of the reactor. And for this reason, in the Hydrosol 3D project, we proceeded in a design of a secondary concentrator that would allow the concentration of solar radiation inside a cavity reactor. Instead of a flat reactor, having a cavity reactor would allow more homogeneous thermal distribution in the reactor. In the case of the field tests, there was much effort devoted in the development of an algorithm for the control of the heliostat field, because, as I said, we have two operation modes. We have a high temperature and a lower temperature, and this heliostat field had to cover this temperature operation window, and also be exchange the heliostats that radiate the two reactors that operate in different modes. Also, these are experiments in order to be able to validate the algorithm and the solar thermal behavior of the plant, but also the thermochemical reactions that were taking place. Several campaigns, solar campaigns, were conducted at Plataforma Solar in Almeria in Spain. And you can see here two examples of hydrogen production. In 2008, it was the first time hydrogen was produced from a monolithic reactor on a solar platform. And during these experiments, different parameters were investigated, such as the duration of the water splitting step and the duration of the regeneration step, and how these would affect the final hydrogen production. Finally, in the Hydrosol 3D project, as I said before, we developed the whole process flow sheet, and all components, heat exchangers, compressors, the hydrogen purification unit, and the hydrogen storage unit were sized. And also, the process economics considered Hydrosol technology either as standalone or being in synergy with other processes. The main cost factors of such a plant derive from the solar part of the plant, the solar tower and the heliostat field. But there are prospects of reducing this cost with evolution in the technology of heliostat manufacturing. This also explains why adapting the Hydrosol technology in an already existing solar platform would be 3 times less, would cost 3 times less than building a plant from scratch. And this is also why the Hydrosol.plant project, the current project, is being implemented in an already existing solar platform at Almeria. Finally, the estimated cost of production for hydrogen was 14 euros per kilogram, with, again, prospects of reduction in the long term. At this point, I would like to thank the European Commission and the FCHJU, and I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Souzana. I think that this is a clear example of how you can go from the lab to a real plant of more than 1 megawatt total energy concentration. Any question in the audience on this technology?
Do you have reference list of this project?
Yes, of course. For all the projects presented, you can come to our booth, and we will give you some documentation on that. No problem.
I would like to know how much water do you need for the whole process? And do you have enough water there?
Well, actually, the process, the actual process can be combined also with desalination, solar desalination. So you don't care if water comes from a lake or from the sea or from rain. It doesn't matter, because it can be combined also with desalination.
And in this case, what are you doing with the salt?
With the salt? Salt is the essence of life, so you sell it.
Any other question? Yes.
Yes, sorry, maybe I missed it, but what is the pressure?
No pressure.
So it's 1 bar?
Atmospheric.
Atmospheric.
You don't need any pressure.
If you are referring to the future use of the hydrogen, of course, you will need to compress it. But there are other projects dealing with electrochemical compressors and not mechanical compressors that are underway under the FCAGU program. Other question? Yeah.
have you thought about other regions or where we might see the next test plant or the next iteration, right? If this happens in 2020 or
Well,
the scale up?
Actually, the plan for this project was to be located in Greece. But due to the higher cost, we decided to make it in Almeria. But all over the Mediterranean, you can, of course, for this area, I mean, the European area.
Yeah, you have to take into consideration the financial situation of Greece. Initially, the project Hydrosol plan was planning to have a completely new installation in Greece, and then we have to turn a little bit around the project and try to use an existing plant in order to test at real scale the technology. But of course, the initial plan of the Hydrosol 3D was to build a completely new system. Other question? No? So what I would like to do, I think that there is another presentation, but it's not under my responsibility, so I will give the floor to someone else. Meanwhile, I would like nevertheless to invite you after the next presentation, or no, when you want, to join our booth to obtain the documentation and also to share some drinks if you want.
Thank you very much, Mr. Delplancke. Thank you very much. I think give him please a big hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to announce to you one final presentation here in the Technical Forum today. We expected it yesterday already, but unfortunately he couldn't make it to Hanover in time, but he's now here. I'm very happy to announce to you Monterey, our gardener. He's a technology manager at the US Department of Energy, Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. And he will give his presentation now in 5 minutes' time about electrolyzers and fuel cells supporting renewable energy through grid integration R&D. So please stay tuned. We will start in 5 minutes' time. Thank you very much.